G'day folks, in this video I'll show how you can solve this puzzle. Now this puzzle happens to be a crazy unicorn Neptune. I got a Neptune sticker and I stuck it on an original just crazy unicorn. So that's how I made it, and I changed the centers of the faces. So instead of being all zero centers or zero faces like this, as is on a crazy unicorn, I changed the yellow, blue and orange faces so they were one faces and those center parts turned with the face. And so we've got three one faces around a corner, and then the white, green, red are still zero faces. We've got three of them around a corner. Now it happens on the unicorn series that there are actually two versions possible. And this particular version is what I'm calling version 2, where the three zero faces are around a turnable corner. So you can see that I can turn that corner. Not all corners are turnable. That one is not turnable. So the other Neptune, it is a non-turnable corner. The difference between this video and the other video that I either have or will put out is that I'm going to solve this as a Mercury style solve. So this puzzle, the version 2 of this Neptune, can be solved in terms of a Jupiter solve or a Mercury solve. This one is going to be a Mercury solve. And believe me, this is absolutely one of the hardest ones there is, in my opinion, because there's a lot going on and there's a lot to think about as you're doing each stage. So I'm looking forward to this. I hope to take you through the whole thing. First thing for me to do is get it scrambled. Okay, looks like we've got a reasonably decent scramble going on here. The very first thing that we want to do, the first major stage, is to solve the four pieces that are inside the circle and bound by the diagonals of the center. If I look at this red center, you can see that when it's all done, there's going to be a diagonal that runs across there, and a diagonal that runs across there. Those two pieces there, those two pieces there are inside the circle and inside that diagonals. They are the four pieces on each face that we want to solve here. So 24 pieces in total. The order we do them is fairly critical. What's even more critical is orienting the faces at the start. Now, the green, red and white cannot turn, so those centers are automatically oriented, but the others are not necessarily. You can see that blue one is, because it's all pointing toward the same corner, so that's fine. The yellow one is certainly not, so I want to do that. The orange one is. Now, it is possible as we move things around that they may become misoriented, but we hope to avoid that by always using 4 turns. So the first little mini stage is to solve the pieces on each face that are adjacent to another zero face. So this piece here is a white piece. That little piece there, or it's not white, it's green, it needs to be white. That is adjacent to a red face, as opposed to a piece like this, which is adjacent to a one face. So I don't care about those pieces yet. So let's begin. I want to put a white piece there. I want to use the face above, which is a one face, to place it. So I locate an appropriate piece. The first thing you can see, that looks subtly different to that piece. They are the type we're looking for, and it's got to be the sort of piece that will go into that position. So the way that I'm going to do it is position up, piece on, undo, undo. And that fourth undo is really important, particularly when I start placing more of them. I'll work my way around. This is a red, so is that the correct red piece? No, it's not. What about this one? That is the correct red piece. So just checking, that's fine. So up, piece on, down, undo. All good. This one. Now I'm going to use the yellow face. This needs a red piece. Neither of those are the correct piece type. So I want to go find a red piece from somewhere else if I can. There's one sitting in this green face, which may be the one that I actually want. Just following it around, if I moved it to there, it'd come to there, it'd go to there. No, that's not the one I want. So let's find another one. None there. There is one on this blue face. Now, as long as I undo my turns, I can always do things like move the yellow, blue, and orange, so I can go up, across, down, undo. That red piece is now there. And let's see if I can place this one. Is it the correct one? It is, and you can kind of follow its position down. So I want to move. In fact, I don't want that one. That's not the one I'm looking for. That's adjacent to a blue face. It is actually this one that I'm looking for. It happens that it will still be the suitable piece. This is opposite. So that's where I was going with that one. So up, on, down, undo. Okay, that one's done. We've now got the two red pieces that we want. Move along. That's got to be the green. That is not the correct one. So let's go locate another one. There is one down here which might be the correct one. There's another one here and another one here. So let's just check that one. No, it's not, which means this one is. So what I want to do is just see if I can get that piece up onto the yellow face. And at the moment, I haven't done this sort of region, so that looks fine. So I'll turn the position down, put the piece on, undo, undo. And I'm always going to check that I haven't disrupted what I've done. There's two reds. I've only done that one white. This is the green that I'm trying to do, and that is now in its correct position. Okay, looking good. This green, no, which is the next one. This one over here, that's adjacent to another zero face. So I'm going to use the orange face to get it. That's the wrong one. There's a piece there, that's going to be the correct one. So let's move that up with the full set of moves and go and grab that piece. Okay, so that both the greens are done. We've got one more white piece here to take care of. That is the wrong one. I lie, that is the correct one. So that is what I need to now place. So there we go. Now, you can look at each face, the white, red, and green. You can see these two pieces here are both adjacent to the other zero faces. Same with those two red pieces, and same with those two green pieces. Okay, that's the first little mini stage of this big section. The next mini stage is to get the other red, white, and green pieces. And let's have a look at how we would do this. We always check, everything should be oriented, but we have a check anyway. Yep, that looks good. Let's say that I want to do this white piece here. I want to do it by keeping the red and the green faces away from me. So I'm going to be turning and getting the white piece from the blue face. That's how I know where to get things from. So I've got to get an appropriate white piece into that position. Now there's one here. Let's just follow that around and see if that's the correct one. It would go to there, and down the bottom. So that is the appropriate one. Now, I can turn that up onto the blue face because it doesn't affect these pieces here. So that's up onto the blue face. I can then do another turn involving yellow and orange, which I haven't done anything with yet. Undo, undo. The white piece is now up there. Let's just double check. Nothing else has been touched. That looks good. Now I can do the same sort of thing and position up, piece on, place. Okay, now I like to just do all of the pieces on one face now. So I'm going to go and grab the fourth white piece. It's very easy to find because it's the only one left. So if I do find an appropriate piece type, that's the one. Ah, there it is in the red face. Now, because it's in the red face, I can either try and place the red at the same time or just ignore that and pretend that I'm putting something else in here. So I think for now, I'm just going to pretend I'm putting anything else in. Put it up, position, undo, undo. So that piece that I wanted, that white piece, is at least now out so that I can use it. Now, I need to place it in this position, which means it needs to come up onto the orange face. So there it is on the yellow face. Let's bring it up, turn that round, undo, undo. Notice that all the interaction there was around this region. Haven't done anything with that region yet, so I don't care. And finally, I can go ahead and turn it off. Now, what I want to be careful of now is that normally I could turn this off that way and turn it up. But you'll see what's happened is that I've already done this white piece. And so if I do that, that white piece goes traveling and I lose it. So instead, I need to turn it around this way so that this gets knocked out of contention. Then move my piece up, undo, undo, and that will keep that piece there while I place this one. Okay, so that's all white pieces done. Let's have a look at the next one, which is, we'll have a look at this red one. And in fact, that is the piece that belongs there. So now I've got to think, well, how can I get it there? I can't turn it. I can't turn that face. So in fact, what I need to do is, again, pretend that I'm putting something else here. Now, if I had the other red piece handy, I'd probably place that other red piece in here while I'm getting this one out. Is it handy? To be honest, it's not really handy. It's over here. So let's just get it out. And turning that up. Okay, that's now escaped from where it needs to be, and I need to have it. Which one was it? Going into here, I think. No, it's not that one. This one over here. So I need to get this one onto the yellow face. So again, I'm just going to involve yellow, blue, and orange, and that's fine. Keep everything oriented. Now, something is not oriented. I have not undone something properly, which is, looks like it's the blue face. So there's a chance that I've knocked something out, but I don't think I've done that yet because I hadn't done this red one. Or have I? Yes, that white one has come out. So this is something that occasionally happens. You just misorient one of these faces, end up having to put it back in. It's only one piece, so it's not a big deal now. So let's take care of that. Okay, that's back in. That's correctly oriented. We'll continue. I think what I've managed to do is actually place that piece I was trying to place at the same time. Okay, let's go and get this last piece, which is this red one here. So we are all good to go. I want to move the position up to the blue face, turn the piece, undo, undo. The red pieces are now in. Those four whites are still in. We're checking that everything is correctly oriented, which it is. That leads me to the green face. These are the two green pieces I had. They are done. Let's go and see if we can find this one. And that is the piece right there. So once again, I want to not, well, I would normally be saying I don't want to involve this, but it actually hasn't been done. So it's not a huge deal if I do, but good habits. Let's turn it that way. That green piece is in, and the final one is here. And let's see. Oh, that one happens to be sitting right there. Now, I do want to set up for a possibility which could be slightly annoying. You'll notice here that I've got that green piece that we just placed. I'm trying to place this one, but the actual piece that I want is sitting here right above where it belongs. Now, this could be on this face. It could be on one of the other faces over here. There's a fairly easy enough technique to deal with that. And this is going to lead into the next section pretty well, is we note that when we turn that green face, the pieces inside the circle do not move. So what I want to do is find a way initially to get it either to the orange face or to the yellow face. So let's just say I'll get it to the orange face. I'd like to turn it down to here, and then I can turn the orange face to move it off, and then undo, undo. Now we note that those three greens are still there. What I've done is sort of escape that piece from where it lived. Nothing else that I've done has been touched. Now you can either do this sort of thing. You could have moved it straight to there. If I've got it here now, I can do whatever I want in as many stages as I want to move it around. So I could sort of go something like that to bring it here and then bring it up to the yellow face. Whatever works. It's now in a position where I can place it as I normally would. Okay, let's have a triple check. Yep, all 4 pieces on each of our 0 faces are now done. Well, the next little part of this is obviously to do the 4 pieces on the 1 faces. These faces that can turn. There's a very specific order which needs to take place here. So you'll notice that there are pieces on each of these faces which are adjacent to the other 1 faces. So this blue piece that belongs there is adjacent to another 1 face. This blue piece is adjacent. So I've got these 2 blues, these 2 oranges, these 2 yellows. They are the pieces I must do first. Now, in terms of how I'm going to do them, what I want to do is have pretty much always a 0 face, I guess on my left, if you like, or something like that. I want to look at how can I get those pieces to go where I want to go. Now, the reason for the 0 face on the left is that those won't turn. Now, let's just have a look at this blue. That blue is not a piece I care about at the moment. It happens to be in, but it's probably going to come out because that is not one of the pieces that is adjacent to a 1 face. That's adjacent to a 0 face. So pretend that's not there. I'm going to be using this little piece here to go and place these 2 orange pieces. So what I normally have is the face that I'm trying to place the pieces on at the top, a 0 face on the side, it can be the left or the right, whatever, and another 1 face at the front here to work with. Let's consider, first thing is there's an orange piece there which you can see will travel around and belongs in that position. So the first thing I might do is move that orange piece down into this position. So I want to cycle the blue up to here to the yellow to the orange, and the orange back down to the blue. Will it work? Let's have a look. If I turn this face, no whites have been touched. Now I'm going to turn the orange face. When I do that, you'll notice that it brings a green piece around and it moves this white piece around as well. But now I'm going to undo those 2 moves. So the first undo brings the orange down. That green is not touched. The second undo puts back the green and the white, which were moved out of place. So the white is still good. The green is still good. In fact, nothing has been touched at all. But what I do have is my orange piece in position, ready to place over to here. And now how I'm going to do it is essentially go this to here, this to here, this up to there in a normal cycle. So I turn that 2 turns, put it on, undo, undo. It's now placed. Let's check. No, whites are still good. Greens are still good. Let's find the other orange piece which belongs here. It's not on that face. It's not down here. I reckon it's one of these. I mean, it must be at least one of them. In fact, it's going to be this one here. So what I would like to do now is, normally I'd just say, well, let's just turn it up to this face. And I technically could do this as a bit of a setup, but I don't like to break what I know. So this is how I'm going to do it instead. I'm going to move this orange piece over to this position and then move it up to here. So I'm going to turn that down, move the orange piece around, undo, undo. Once again, note that the white pieces on this 0 face have not been touched. Neither have any of the red pieces or the green pieces. So that is fine. That orange is still in place. Now, the piece that I actually wanted was this one here, which is now on this orange face. That's fantastic. Let's have a think how I can do it. Well, I can cycle from here to here, the orange around to position, and that yellow back down. So I'm turning a 0 face then a one face, then undo, undo. Awesome. Those two oranges are now in. Now I'm not going to do the next two oranges yet. I'm going to move around and do the same sort of thing to these two yellows. This time my side face is the green face. So I want to find, do I have any yellows here? No, I do have one here. And I can see that it's going to belong in that position. So that means I just need to cycle those pieces to get it there. Done, no change. Okay, the next yellow piece I'm looking for, interesting, it could well be that one. However, I'll just see if there's a simpler one at the moment. There's one here, but that's actually the same as that one. So that one there looks good. Now, this is still interesting because that, again, is sort of trapped above a white piece. And I had another one here that was trapped above a white piece. So either way, I'm in a bit of trouble. I've got to get it out. So the question is, how do I get it out? What I can't do is something like this. I can't just move that yellow around to there and then perhaps move this piece up to knock it off and then undo, undo, because that white piece has come out of its position. So instead of that, I need to move it up onto the blue face because that'll keep the white piece there. And then just think, what else is going to happen? I'd like to cycle this to here to here. That should be fine because the red and the white pieces will go back into their position. Okay, so these were the two oranges I had done. I was up to doing the two yellows, which meant that I was in this position. And which was the yellow I just got out? I think it was that one. Just going to travel to there, to there, and to there, and to there. So that is the correct one. So again, I'd like to take it to my yellow face, if I can. And that's going to be fine in the same sort of way. And the reason this is working is because I'm doing it in this order, so I'm not disturbing any other pieces that I've already done. Okay, there's my yellow piece. Now, this is what I want to use as my third piece. I want that to go to there. So the way to achieve this is to do one setup turn and now cycle those three around. That's placed. I'll undo my setup turn. And what we'll see is that the two oranges that I'd done are still done. Now those two yellows are done and all of my zero face pieces are still done. The last face to deal with is this blue face. Already got one sitting there. This time the red is on the side. Got to place this last little blue piece here. Now I reckon that is the correct piece. Yes, it is. So we'll just cycle that one home. That's now in, and you can see that each of the two pieces adjacent to the other one faces are now in. All right, we're nearly at the end of this quite long first stage. And this is the trickiest part, in a sense, getting this done. Everything is still oriented, looking good. Obviously now we've got the other two pieces on each face to place, and I now want to place both of these yellows. Because once I've done these two yellows, it's easier just to concentrate on the last two faces. Well, I'm going to do that in the same way. So this yellow is going to belong there, which means it's going to belong there. So what I can do as a setup is just turn that around so that that is the position. Now, is that actually the one I want, or was it in fact, it was in fact this one. So I don't even need to do a setup. I can just bring that up, turn the piece, undo, undo, and nothing here has been touched because I did them first, and this stuff is still where it should be. Okay, let's have a look at this yellow. The required piece is over here. Now, technically, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I could just grab it from this direction. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I normally have it on the left, but being on the right, no problem. So let's move that up. Turn it, undo, undo, and just check. Greens are still there, whites are still there. All is well. Those oranges are still there. So that yellow face is now done. got those two blues. I can now concentrate on these two blues and these two oranges, which must live on these faces. So there's the two blues, there's the two oranges. Let's see if we can firstly place this one here. That's got to be a blue. Now, the blue that it is in fact that blue there. So what I want to do, this is when I do want to do a setup. There's the position. In fact, there's the position. I want to fill that position with that piece. So bring it up, put the piece on, undo, undo, and then undo that setup move. Let's just triple, quadruple check everything because I don't like things going wrong at this stage. That looks great. I've got one more blue to do and two oranges to do. And you can see that I've actually got a 3 cycle here. Got the blue that has to come to here, the orange that has to come to here, and this orange has to go around to there. So all I need to do is grab the piece order. I'm going orange to orange, orange to blue, blue back down to here. So I'll turn the face here first, put that on, undo, undo. And when that is done, you will find that all 24 of those pieces have been successfully placed. Okay, moving on in this solve, the next thing that we want to do is to place the edge bases, to solve the edge bases. And that means solving these pieces like this white-orange outer piece here, and that belongs in this position, white-orange next to these circle pieces we have just placed. Now, because it's a Neptune, and I did say this was a really challenging solve, this is also a pretty tricky section. It's only really tricky though because you've got to do the 3 cycle to place your pieces using the white, green, or red faces. So because of that, what I do is start with the yellow face because that's going to be my first face, and I'm going to get my yellow pieces first. I'm then going to concentrate on the oranges and the blues. And what that will leave me is the last 3 faces will be all 0 faces, and I won't have to worry about setups. So the first lot, I do have to concentrate and think about setups quite significantly. So let's get going here. Find a yellow edge. There's a yellow-orange edge, and that needs to be placed into this position, which is going to be over here. So it's not actually replacing that red-yellow. It's going to go and sit here. So what I would normally do is firstly get the yellow-orange edge up onto this white face somewhere. Now, if I can turn it up on this face, which is a 0 face, and do something like that, that is exactly what I'll do. So I'll turn it up, use the white face to push it off, undo, undo. Okay, now it's stored up here. Now what I want to do is do a setup to put the position underneath that green face. So I can now cycle 1, 2, 3 pieces to place my yellow-orange. That's done. Undo that setup. And what's really important here is that all of these pieces that we just did in the previous stage are still sitting there. And that yellow-orange is solved. Let's move along. This needs to be yellow-blue. So I would locate the yellow-blue, which is sitting here. What I would like to do is get it up to the top with the yellow on the top. So I can just accomplish that by a simple 3 cycle like so. That's now on the top. The position, I don't want to turn that blue face when I do my cycle. So I'm going to set up by turning it to there. And again, I can now use any other piece on here that I haven't done yet to cycle home that yellow-blue. Undo my setup, that's done. Next is yellow-red. Okay, yellow-red is here. Now, I would like the yellow on the top, so it's not essential. You can do it in other ways, but it's just much easier. In fact, perhaps I'll show how I would do that. I would just do a setup across to there and then bring it down by turning the green and the red faces, which is perfectly acceptable, into that position. So that one first, then that one, undo, undo. That's been placed, and I can undo that setup. So as I say, not essential, I just prefer to do it normally. Last one, yellow-green. Okay, yellow-green is over here. That is between two one faces. So what I would do is just set it up to turn it there and then get it up to this top face by turning 0 faces only, then undo my setups. Now where did that belong? In this position, so I can now turn that green face, put it on, undo, undo. Have a quick check, all the circle parts look good, and the first 4, or I thought it was the first 4, maybe I knocked something out with the yellow-blue, or maybe I had not actually done it. I really can't remember now, but the yellow-blue is sitting here and it needs to be done. So let's pretend that I hadn't done it, or as I say, I can't remember. I'll put it up to the top as a setup and then just move it across to here. Undo that setup. The yellow's on the top, so can I turn the blue face? No, I can't, so I'll turn it across to the green face and now place it. Again, undo the setup. Now I have all 4 yellows, and you can see that things are starting to look good. I can actually turn that corner now. What's next? As I said, at the beginning of this section, I want to ignore the red and the green for now. I want to concentrate on the orange and the blue, and specifically, firstly, this orange-blue here. So the orange-blue is over there. Now, I can always do a setup if I want, if that helps. The problem is I don't really want to do anything over here, placing it into that position. So I would just note that the orange of the orange-blue needs to go to the blue of the blue-white. Let's say I turn it to that position. Then I can turn the white face and the green face to get that orange over to there. Like so. And I'll undo, and that has been placed. Now the other orange would be good to do. So that's the orange-green. It's sitting up here. Now if I turn that around to there with the white face and then down to here with the green, that will go nicely. So that seems perfectly acceptable. That's in, and we'll come back this way and do the blue-red. The blue-red is sitting here. Oh no, that's the blue-white. Where is the blue-red? The blue-red is there. Now what I will do, I think, is just turn it up to this position initially so that it's on the upper white face. That's now ready to be turned down to there, so I can just do something like turn the white face, bring its position up and undo. That's now in, and that leaves this 4th middle layer edge to be done. And as usual, I'll now treat this as my top face and try and get these back too. And you can see the back one here is done, the white orange. This needs to be a white blue, which is sitting here. Okay, so I can now happily turn any of these faces to place that. And that will then leave the last 3. Now the last 3 will be in one of a few configurations. They could be solved. They could be in a 3 cycle. I could have 2 flipped in place, or I could have a swap. Let's see what I've got here. White red goes there. Green red goes there. White green goes here. Okay, so in this case, what I've got is a simple 3 cycle, and I would solve that as normal. They're all solved. But of course, I'd like to show you what happens if you get a swap of 2 edge bases. Okay, well here's a pretty standard swap situation where I've got the white red placed. I've got the green red and the green white need to swap positions. So that green red needs to go down there. The green white needs to come up here. Now one thing that I can't do, and I would normally do this, is to turn a face which is a 1 face 1 turn. But of course, what happens is it changes the whole orientation of that center, which is not allowed. So I need to, in order to fix it, turn one of my 0 faces. Now, just by habit and convention, what I normally do is turn the white face one turn and then just use one of these yellow ones to help fix it. So obviously if I'm going to be replacing things, so when I turn the white face one turn, I've now fixed that problem. I don't have a swap of edge bases anymore, but clearly I now have a problem with my circle edge parts that I solved in the first stage, and I need to replace them. So I can see that red needs to go to this position where the blue is. Now the only way that I can actually move those pieces around is on a face like the orange face. So I'm going to have to bring the red and the blue down closer so that I can use this orange face. So I do one setup turn before I start, and I want to cycle this to here, and this over to here. Now I did a setup turn, so I'm going to undo that setup turn, and what you'll see is that red circle edge piece has been replaced. Next, I want to replace the green one because that's also on a zero face. The green piece is here, so I can just cycle it straight across. And that green one has been fixed. And now what I've got is an orange one that goes here and a blue one that goes here. Now this seems like a swap, but it's actually really a 3-cycle, and I can involve this other orange piece here. So just cycle them through so I fix all of those circle pieces, and now you can see they all look good again. Now when we look at what we have, I see that I've got the white orange and the yellow orange which have swapped. So what that turn of the white face actually did was create a second swap of pieces. So now I've got white orange and yellow orange, and I've got green white and red white. So instead of just having one swap, I've now got 2 swaps. Perfect. I can happily take care of them. The first thing to take care of is to get this yellow orange back. So I do that as I did before, set it up to there and use these faces to place it. That's done. Let's see what was next. This white orange needs to go in, and that's sitting here. That's done. And what you'll often see is that this results solved pieces. So we had that swap of the green white and the green red. We've now completely fixed that, and all the edge bases are in position. It's not necessarily going to happen that you end up with them solved at this stage. You might have a 3-cycle, or you might have 2 edges flipped in place. You deal with them in the same way you deal with them on a 3x3 puzzle. So we solved the edge bases. We've checked whether there were swapped edges and taken care of them. The next thing we want to do is to solve the triangles. Now, with these triangles, there is, of course, one set which can't go anywhere. So this white, red, green set of triangles, it could have been like that. That's fine, but there's no way that red is going to be going anywhere else because I can't turn it off using the white face, and in the same way I can't turn it off using the green face. So worst case for these, you just do a single turn to get those triangles back. Now we're going to place the other white, red, and green ones. So here's a white triangle. I'll use the orange face to place that one. Let's have a look at the red. There's a red up here. And the green, there's the green on the orange face. Okay, those 3 are now taken care of, and it's just orange, yellow, and blue now. I'll take care of the orange first. Next is just yellow and blues now. And I'll just need to do a setup here to get the blues able to cycle home. Now undo my setup, and you can see we have all the triangles solved on each face now as well. Now, this next little stage is not essential, but it is essential for me, and that is to check whether I have a single twisted corner, because I do not wish to encounter that at the end. With these style solves, with a Mercury style solve, it's a real pain in the neck, because when you have to make your turn or your twist of your corner, it always dislodges things from where you want them to be, and it's difficult to get them solved again. So I want to check now. The way I'm going to do that is to solve get all the white corners on the white face in their position. That one's already there. That one's there. I need to get these ones. The white, orange, green goes over to here. Now, it's not essential for them to be oriented correctly. They just need to be in their position. So I'm actually going to cycle these three and put the white, orange, blue up there at the same time, using the same thing I would use at the end of the solve to solve the corners. So in this case, I use the corner piece series. You can use whatever you like. And importantly, with the corner piece series, it does not affect the edges that we've already done. Or, the edge bases and those circle edge pieces. Okay, so I've got all my white pieces in the white face, and I look at the overall orientation. That's oriented correctly. This one has been twisted anti-clockwise, this one clockwise. So overall, the white corners, perfect. Let's have a look at the yellow face. Correct, correct. This one, anti-clockwise, this one clockwise. Let's have a look at what would happen if it was not. Okay, in this situation, I've got all the white corners okay, the same as before. When I look at my yellow face, I've got one that's correct. I've got these two that are opposite, so clockwise, anti-clockwise, so they sort of cancel out. And then this one is twisted anti-clockwise. So overall, I have a single twisted corner. If I don't fix this now, I'm going to have to fix it at the end. So what I want to do is turn any face or any corner that I can turn, meaning I can't turn that corner, it's non-turnable. And I certainly don't want to turn this corner because I won't be able to get them back without unturning it. So I want to turn the corner the appropriate turn to deal with this problem. So they're fine, that's fine. What I want to do here is just turn that corner. So now everything on the yellow face is also good. So that has fixed the problem of the single twisted corner. Clearly the triangles are out, and so I want to go ahead and replace those triangles as I would normally do. Now I'm going to turn this corner clockwise, but when I bring it back and place it, I turn it anti-clockwise. So that's all fine still. It's the last one here. All right, so we've checked for the single twisted corner. We've fixed it. We're ready to move on. The next stage is to solve the remaining circle pieces. So on each face, we've got the triangles. We've got these four parts here. We don't have these pieces here. And we've got to do them on each face. Now, on a Mercury solve, what I would be doing is the white face was a zero face. In fact, the white face was the one face. All the other faces were zero. It's kind of a little bit opposite here with the color scheme of the Neptune. So I'm going to do the same sort of technique, but instead of using that white face as my one face to do things, I'm going to use the yellow face as my one face. And that means I'm going to begin with the white pieces. Now, a little word of explanation here. This is going to be an almost identical algorithm to the next stage, which is fantastic. What I want to do is I need to be turning the yellow face, which is a one face, and also a zero face. In other words, my face turns have got to be yellow and green or yellow and red. What I don't want to be doing is yellow and orange or yellow and blue. They are both one faces and they will disrupt other pieces as we go. The corner turns can be anything I like. So I'm going to involve face turns and corner turns. Let's see how this is going to work. I'll see if I do have a white piece up here, and I like to get the whites done first. That white piece is going to go where that blue is. So as a setup, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to move the white piece across to that position. So that's the face turn, if you like. Now for my corner turn, I've got a choice of involving this piece. So I could move that piece up into the position. I could also, if I wanted to, move the red piece up into that same position. I could also look around here and say, well, hang on, I could involve this yellow piece, move that up into position, or in fact, this white piece over here. So I've got quite a lot of options for what I want to do. At this point, all I really care about is getting that white piece over to there. So I'm just going to use this piece here as my corner turn. Now I look at the piece movement and I note that the white has got to go to here. It's not coming from here. So because it's going across the face, I do face turns first, then my corner turn. How do I get the white piece over to there and not turn the blue face? Well, that means I've got to turn the green face first and then the yellow face. So when I do that, watch where this white piece goes, down to the bottom, then that face, back up to the top, and across to the position I want it to be in. Next, I replace that piece with my third piece. And then I undo my face turns. So when I did the face turns, I did green, then yellow. So to undo, I need to do yellow, then green. Then I undo my corner turn, which was this one. I can see what's happening with the triangles. So I turn that back. And what you'll notice now, I've finished that routine. I've now got a white piece there. When I turn that back down, undo that setup move, that white piece has been replaced. That is your technique. So pretty much always, I'm just going to look and see, is there a white piece somewhere up the top? This one can travel across to here. So that means I would often go, oh, can I do that white piece? Well, I've already done that one. So here's another technique that I could use. I would, in fact, then look at that one and say, well, that one's going to go to there. Yep, that's a great one. So I'll move this up. I want to put this white piece in that position. So I'm thinking the yellow goes to the green goes to the white goes over to here. So again, it's face turns first, and I want to involve the yellow face and this zero face being the red face. Undo that and then undo the setup move, and that white has gone into place also. Now here was the other white over here. This is pretty common, is that I want to have the white move into one of these positions, and realistically I'd like to turn this one up, but it's already done. So instead what I can do is turn this white up. That white piece will go to the position. I'll just involve this orange one as well. So this time I want to move white to blue, blue to orange, orange to white. So it's actually the corner that gets turned first. Then after I've turned the corner, I want to put the third piece into that position. So I've got to move orange over to that position. I don't want to turn the blue face, so I've got to turn yellow and green faces to get that orange piece over to there. So let's do the corner turn. Orange to there will be accomplished by turning yellow, then green. Undo the corner turn. Undo the face turns. There's the two white pieces. You may have noticed the orange went in there, not intentional, and it may come out, but the whites are what I'm interested in. Okay. Now the last white piece is sitting here. Obviously I need the white to be up here somewhere. So in this situation, what I would do would just be to start solving some of these. So I'm going to solve this one here, which will get the white out, and then I'll solve one of these lower ones. You'll know exactly what to do then. So if I want to place this red piece into here, first thing, I'm just going to check whether there's a red piece somewhere up the top. And the reason for it is I'm going to do a setup to bring it down to there and then put it up to this position. That white piece is the one that I want to replace with a red. You just follow it down again. You can see it's next to the red triangle. and it came from there. So I'm trying to fill that white piece with a red piece. So I turn the corner down to the bottom, turn the bottom to a top. Now, can I do it? I got white, I got blue, and I got a red piece sitting over here. Beautiful. So that is the piece movement. Its face turns first. I'll need to turn the red face, then the yellow face. Then get that corner, turning that third piece into position, and then undo. Then undo the corner turn. Now, had a couple of setups, so I undo the first setup move. You'll see that red piece has landed there. Undo that corner turn, and I have placed the red into that position. That's how I do pieces in that line there. So like that one's going to be green, the same sort of thing. Obviously, I've released that white piece up there, so I'm just going to go and take care of that now. And we'll just get a blue to the white, white to the orange. So I'll do the corner first. Now I've got to put the orange over to there. So I'll turn the red face, then the yellow face. Undo the corner, undo the faces. This becomes very quick when you're not explaining it, and you'll knock them out, as I say, quite quickly. So I've shown how to do one of them. How do you do one of these lower ones? Basically the same way. So I'm just going to see if I've got a nice piece up here. I think I do. I want to put a green where that orange is. So I turn that orange to the bottom, bring it up to the top. Is there a green? Yes, there is. Nice. Now, that looks wrong, but that's because I've done setup moves. Okay, so I want to turn green to orange. There's the third piece I'm going to use. The corner turn happens first. Then I want to get the blue across to here. I'll have to turn yellow face, then red face. Undo the corner turn. Undo face turns. Now, what I want to do is undo my setups. That was the first one. The green has been placed. There it is. That's how we do those. The ones at the top are much easier because there's really no setups. You just kind of go, well, that orange has got to go there. So it's going to be yellow to orange to green. Carry out the same thing. I'm going to continue working through these and come back in a bit later. I will show one thing here. I've got to get this blue piece. So I turn it down to the bottom and I go to turn it up, but the only blue piece that I have gets knocked out. So there's a couple of things that I could do here. One, I could just see if there's still a blue piece somewhere else. There's not. So what that means is before I begin, I just want to turn this blue piece across to there. So I do an extra setup move of a U2. Then when I turn it up, that blue piece can go across to here. I'll go ahead and do what I need to do. What's something that hasn't been done yet? I reckon that thing. So green to blue to red. That's all done. I would undo that setup and then put the blue back. That's completed. And then remember that I had this set up as well. And just coming to the last one here, and I reckon that's done all of those circle pieces. So every circle now is complete. Well, that leads to the next stage and the last major stage, which is to place the edge arrows. And again, this is still a little bit tricky because of the nature of the faces. So I said it was very similar to the previous algorithm. It's almost identical, except that the last one, I needed to turn the yellow face and a zero face. When I do it this time, I need to turn only zero faces. So only red, green, red, white, or white, green for my face turns. So let's see how this works. I always like to start, if I can, getting these three pieces because they're the hardest. So I would initially look and say, well, can I easily get that orange blue? It's got to turn on a corner. Not really, because that's got to go across a face. Having said that, I could do a setup and put the position of the orange blue there. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Okay. So that's the position of the orange blue. That's the orange blue corner. So what I want to do here is I'm thinking that I've got to move this piece firstly over to here. Then this piece, or this is traveling to here, the orange blue travels back to there. So again, I'm doing face turns first. So I think, how do I get that piece to there? By turning only the green and the red face. Well, I've got to turn the green face first and then the red face. Notice that they're both 0 faces. Okay, the position is there. I now want to turn the orange blue, my third piece, onto that position and then undo those face turns. And then undo the corner turn. Okay, that's done. That happens to have solved one of these as well, I think. But I did have a setup. It was the orange blue. When I undo that setup, it has placed that. You'll see it's really the same sequence. It's just using all 0 faces for face turns. What's another problematic one? Yellow-orange. Yellow-orange is there. Again, I don't really want to go across here. However, I could do a setup and just use these pieces here. So I might even do that. The yellow-orange going to the white-orange. And then I've got the red-blue. That's not anywhere nearby. So I'll just do that. That means the corner turn happens first. Then I've got to place the third piece across to there. Undo corners, undo faces, and undo that setup move, and that yellow-orange is done. Let's have a look at the yellow-blue. Belongs here. Where is it? Ah, okay, the yellow-blue is there. What I can do, I can see that yellow-blue piece is actually over here. Now, I can't turn the blue face. I could potentially do... is that even worth doing at the moment? Possibly not. Maybe I reckon I'd consider abandoning this for now and getting that yellow-blue later on. So let's have a look at another one. I've got the white-red going across to here. That's nice, white-orange, and then red-yellow back to here. Okay, might as well do that. So that's very nice, just face turns as normal. That's all done. The green-red's got to come to there. I've got the white-orange. Now, here's one thing that I can do. I've got green-red to white-orange. As a couple of setups, I can say that white-orange needs to go to that position. So I could turn the corner and then turn it on the orange face to put it here. And then I'm just going to involve green and red faces. So green-red to white-orange over to this position. So first of all, corner turn. Now, got to get that third piece over to there. Undo corner turn, undo face turn. Now, undo all of my setups. I think that was the first one and that was the second one. Where are we at? Can't have many to go. Red, yellow. It's got to go to red, blue, to blue, white, to blue, yellow, to green, white. Okay, 5 to go. Let's see if I can get a couple done in this one. Is that yellow-blue in contention yet? Yellow-blue. Oh, it's across there. Again, unfortunately, it's still not really where I want it. So here's another thing that I potentially could do. I've got the yellow-blue on there. You know what I could do is turn the position as a setup across to there. Now, what that means... I've got the yellow blue that I want to go to here. That can be the third piece that I use. Okay, and I'm turning green and white faces, so it's fine. So firstly, how do I get the yellow blue to there? Turn the green, then the white face. Then my third piece comes up. Undo. And undo corner turn. Okay, now undo the setup, which I think was just that. That last problem piece is done, and I think that should just leave me 3 pieces. Maybe 4. 4, okay. Couple of swaps. So let's see what makes sense here. Not much, to be honest. I've got that going to there. Yeah, all right. The logical thing to me would be just to set up by turning that there. Then I can do this sort of thing. That white-green will go across into that position. And that's done, and that definitely will leave 3. So what have we got? Red, yellow to there. White, blue needs to go to here. And so I can do a setup by turning that one over to there. So I've basically got to turn the red, yellow onto that position and then get the third piece to here. Undo. And then undo. And then finally undo that setup. And we do have all of those edge arrows completed. Well, the great news is that the very last stage, and there's no surprises here, is to solve the corners and do that again with the corner piece series. See what we can do here. Do this one across the diagonal. As I mentioned earlier, when I was checking for a single twisted corner, any faces can be used. And there's one that's going to roll down an edge now. It's a nice one, so we'll do that cycle there. One, 2, 3, 4 to go. Okay, the green, yellow, red can come down like that now. And we've now got 1 to here, 1 to here. Now, I can either just place this one and worry about twisting the other 2 at the end, or I can attempt to get them set up so that I solve all 3. Now, when I look at this, the green sticker is going to come to there. So what that tells me is that I need the sticker color in the green face of this third piece to be there before I start. So that means a few setup moves. That one's simple, I won't have to remember that. Really, all I've got to do is move the blue up there, and that requires me to move those out of the way, bring it up, undo. Now, I've got these 3 corners to cycle home. I'll undo the setups and then undo that setup. And you can see that we do not have a single twisted corner because we took care of it earlier in the solve. And in fact, this monstrous cube has been solved. Well, I hope that made sense. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a great puzzle and it's a challenging puzzle. And as always, thanks for watching.